how does it fit in the dispatch side of things? So talk us through that workflow. So the customer, I'm guessing most of your work is probably preventative because of the uptime, is it?
It is. So we phone fix 70% of our calls that come in through level one and level two for dispatch. And, we do that over the phone with the customer. So if they go through level one, they make it to level two, we might send them the help lightning link to get them to make sure they're opening the right access points or doing the right things, or see if we can identify any broken cables or anything like that. Or we can say, hey, oh, that cable looks broken. Do you know what happened there? Or that access point is bent. Did y'all hit it with something? What happened to change the structure of the device? So, what's going on? And then we'd capture a picture of that, and we would know what module it was. So we would attach that to the case, and we would then dispatch a third party out there to replace that module, because all of our we don't do any field repairs. We do module replacements on our devices. So once we can identify the correct module and get that part out to the site, all they do is swap it. That's what the technician does, and send it back to us.
Okay, sure. And the agents that are taking the calls, and again, just a little pragmatic question, but I think these are the ones that sometimes get overlooked. I mean, is it literally just baked into their CRM or whatever tools they're using, where they can just hit a button to go straight into a help lightning call, or is
They,
it
they
within
all have their
workflow that you have?
individual logins for Help Lightning. So it's not integrated with our CRM currently. That's functionality that I've recently learned is available, and we are looking at it as an enhancement. But right now it's standalone through the Help Lightning server, and it's they don't have any complication with it. It's not
Yeah,
challenging by any means.
yeah, yeah. I mean
Most of them
that
have it downloaded on their phones.
yeah, yeah. From the customer point of view as well, is that a case that the customer has to have the app, or do they get a link or that you
They
send
get a
across?
link, so they're emailed a link. So if they have access to email and get a link and pull it up that way, they can use the app. There's a few different ways for them to access it. And you do have customers that will refuse because they have to use their personal devices in order to utilize Help Lightning. So there is some opportunity there. Excuse me. But it's fine. I mean, it's not something that we can't overcome uh, the majority of the time. And at the end of the day, the customer is most concerned about getting their issue resolved, and they're willing to do what needs to be done to get that, because they want that machine to be functional. Because when it's not, it requires them to do a ton more manual work than what they're used
Yeah,
to doing.
true. Yeah, this is one of the big advantages of the service you provide, because it does take a huge amount of, and the guy that's probably taking, or the folks that are taking that call, they're probably looking at this going, I need that machine to work, because otherwise I'm going to be sat here until
Hmm.
midnight counting these dollar bills.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. The final thing I think, and again, thanks ever so much for your time today, Clay. It's been really insightful. Um, and the last thing I really want to get, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, is that adoption amongst your team. So just talk me through that again. So you said there was a rollout. You kind of gave them a bit of instruction over way of the reasoning and the training of how to do it. I mean, was it a very simple training setup? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of functionality in there, which I suppose when I've played with it, it seems very intuitive. But then I've only had a surface level look. So how did
No,
they
it is.
take?
It is very intuitive. It wasn't a complicated training session. We built in our learning management system, we built a computer-based learning module and just rolled it out to the floor, let them see it, and trained everybody on it, and then kind of said, "Hey, this is cool. We'd like you guys to use this." Now we gave that a week or so to see what we were getting, and we weren't seeing the interaction that we wanted. So okay, well, how can we improve this? We keep talking to the teams about it, explaining the whys behind it, having those daily conversations with the folks that are using it and the ones that are not. And then we ran a contest for a month and said, hey, if you get X number of these, you'll get a gift card. If you can prevent a dispatch, you'll get a this, and just kind of made it tangible for them, to prove that they could do it, and that they could use it in their day to day the way that I was wanting them to use it. And then once I'd shown them that they could, I then said, now you have to, right? Now it's part of the process. And so it was here on a platter, and then it was like here with a carrot, and now it's like this is required, just do it. And it's part of their QA forms and their requirements that they're doing it on a daily basis. And we pull the stats and we communicate those numbers, and they're held to a metric, and it's part of their employee scorecard. And so that's why our adoption from a user perspective is, the folks at Help Lightning are always asking how we got our teams to use it so much, because we're using it so much more than some of their other customers. And that's how. I mean, it's a staged approach to implementation, and then just holding the team accountable to the expectations that you set.
And is it to, what kind of time frame are we looking at from
It was,
like those various
it
stages?
was about a 3 month time period.
Yeah.
It wasn't overnight by any means. And there's still ebbs and flows, right? You take your eye off the ball, and you'll see a drop in the interactions, and then you start paying attention to it again and communicate the numbers and kind of talk to the supervisor and leadership teams about it. And then they, funny enough, anything you're talking about, it goes back in that other direction,
Yeah.
and you just got to keep your eye on the ball. That's really all it is.
Oh, what's the one pushback that you like when those ebbs come in, or at those early points when there were some laggards? Was there anything that was, or was it just literally, look, it's new, and
It,
as we all know, new things take time to bed in.
it's more of it. I don't need it. I'm smarter than the technology. It's the same argument that we have when we roll out a knowledge base or any kind of change. It's just that resistance to change, that again, you said change management 101. That's the most common thing, right? It's something different, and they're adding a tool. While you see and I see adding a tool as a benefit, some people see that as more work. And you have to get them to change their mindset around how this benefits them. And we did that through listening to phone calls with them and going through audits and saying, okay, if you had used Help Lightning here, do you see how you could have reduced your call time, or you could have reduced this customer's frustration, or you could have improved the interaction? If you improve the interaction with that customer, doesn't that make your job just a little bit easier? Isn't that better for you? It's communicating it in a productive way, but enforcing the fact that it's required.